Good morning everyone, welcome to the Working in the Tube and Pipeline Environment in Autodesk Inventor webinar presented to you by myself, Ron Burkhoff from Modena OneSolve. Today we will be discussing placing fittings, creating simple routes, creating and editing rigid routes, creating and editing tube routes, creating and editing flexible hose routes, and then we will have some time for a Q&A. So if you have any questions afterwards, feel free to ask them. The first thing we will be discussing is how to place fittings. I will show you how to place fittings out of the Inventor library, and I will show you how to place custom-made fittings that you have drawn up yourself. First, I will be showing you how to add fittings from your Inventor library. We will go to the ribbon in the Content tab and click on Place. Then I will select a bushing of my choice. I want to use a JIS B2301 bushing, and I want it 1 inch by 3/4 inch. Then I will click OK. This will bring the bushing into the workspace in the model. Then I can right click, connect fitting, and then if I select the line, or if I go close to my joint there where I want it, it will bring up a line which I can click on, and it will put my fitting where I want it. You can click right click and say done, or press escape, and then it will complete your task. Now we will be adding 2 additional fittings to show you the second way to add or connect your fittings. In this case, I will be going to the ribbon on the root tab and clicking connect fittings. Then it's going to ask me for a free fitting and a base fitting. The free fitting is the new fitting you just added to your model. So you'll select the face or the side of the fitting that you want to connect to, and I want it to connect on the front side. So I'll be clicking on the front side, and now it's going to ask me for a base point or base fitting to connect to. So now I'll go and select the base fitting that I wanted to connect to, and then I'll click apply. And as you can see, it connects the fitting in the correct orientation that I selected it, and it places the fitting in the correct place. Now I'll be doing the same for the next fitting, and now you can see it also added that fitting for me. Now I will be showing you how to add a custom fitting. So we'll go to our ribbon on the root tab, click on place fitting. Now I'll select my custom fitting, and then I'll double click on it and just click in the space on my worksheet. Then I'll press escape. Now I'll go to the root tab in the ribbon and selecting connect fitting. Now it's also going to ask me for a free fitting again, so I'll select the face or the side that I want to connect. Then it's going to ask me for a base fitting again. So now I'm going to select the base where I want it to be connected, and then I'll click apply. Now you can see the part and the base fitting is quite a distance away from each other. So then to fix that, I will click on my fitting, and then I'll right click, and then I'll say edit fitting connections. I'll click on the bushing, and then on the engagement tab I will select my fitting that I want to insert. Then if I click OK, you'll see it brought the fitting closer to the base fittings face. Now we will be creating a simple route. To create a simple route, we will have to select our type of connection first. So under the Manage tab in your ribbon, there is a drop-down menu. If you click on the drop-down menu, there you can find the different types of connections and routes and piping available. In this case, I will be using JIS G3442. To create the route, I will be clicking on the New Route button in the Route tab. It's going to bring up a pop-up menu where you can change the root path file name and the root path file location. For this example, we will be keeping it standard. Now it's bringing up another root menu. So we will go to the Create tab in the root menu and then we will click Root. When we click Root, you can see it brings up a pop-up menu where it's asking us to select the points and start and an end point. So for this example, I will be using this as my start point and then using this as my end point. You'll see if I click there, it generates a route. Now, in the bottom left hand corner, you will see there's two arrows and one tick mark. So if I go and I click on one of these arrows, this will take me through the generated options that is available to me at the moment. And when you are happy with one and you find one suitable for you for your application, you can click the tick mark in the center and this will add your generated route to your model. If you click finish route and then finish tube and pipe run and then finish again, you will see now it brought in the new route that you ran or route that you created into your model available for you to see. Now I will be showing you how to create and edit the rigid routes. To create a rigid route, we will be going to our route button in our Create tab in the ribbon. If I select the route button, it's going to ask me to select my points again. So I'll be selecting this point, but I won't be clicking on a second point. Now I'll be dragging my cursor along the line, and if I start typing a dimension that I want, for instance I want 150 millimeters, and I go and I click on the OK or the tick mark over here, it's going to generate my pipe at the 150 millimeters. So now if I want to turn to the left, I will be dragging my cursor along this route and say I want 250 millimeters. I just start typing 250 and that's going to bring up this distance box, same as the previous one. And if I click the tick mark over here, this is going to generate my pipe at 250 millimeters with the coupling for the bend. We can also go and do angles. So if I click on this little cross over here and I drag it down to 45 degrees and I drag my cursor along the line and I start typing another dimension again, for instance 150 millimeters, and I click the tick mark again, now you can see it generated the 45-degree coupling and it generated my pipe. And that is how you create rigid routes. Now if we want to edit a rigid route, we will select the run that we need to edit. Well, as you can see here, there's some interference. So we want to edit this run or this tube routing so we can fix the interference. So now we need to select the correct route that we want to edit. So if I click on route 2, this will bring up the dimensions for this run that we did. Now I can see there's dimensions and I want to edit or move this down so that it doesn't interfere anymore. So if I go to my dimension and I change it to 350, now that solves my issue of the interference at the bottom. If I click finish route, the routes that is auto generated or the auto routes will then be updated, and as you can see now it's connecting, whereas previously it was hanging in the air. Now we will have a look at how to create and edit tube routes. The difference between a tube route and a rigid route is a rigid route is made out of pipes and 45 and 90-degree connectors that you will screw onto your pipe, and a tube route is made out of copper tube or stainless steel tube that you will bend into the directions that you need them to go, and at the end you will solder them to get the seal. Creating a tube route is very similar to creating a rigid route. For a tube route, you need to select a tube like the steel hydraulic tubing, and then we'll be clicking on the new route under the route tab in your ribbon. We will leave this as default. Then if we click select route, or on the route button there, and we will start our placement. So I'll click on this point. I want to start my route at this point, and then I will drag my cursor along the line and I'll start topping my dimension. I want this to be 100 millimeters away, and then now it's 100 millimeters away. Then I want my tube to go up by 45 degrees. So I'll be dragging my cursor along the 45-degree line in the direction I want it to go, and then I'll start topping my new dimension. So I want this to be 200 millimeters. Now that it's 200 millimeters, I can rotate this again with another 45 to make it go up by 90. And now I want this to be 250 millimeters away. Now it's up by 250 millimeters. Now I want to come this way, so I'll drag my cursor along this line again, and then I'll type in another 150 millimeters, and now it gave me an extra 150 millimeters. And that's creating tube routing. If we want to edit a tube route, then we will select our tube and pipe runs. We'll open the drop down menu. Then we will select our route. We will double click on our route to activate the route. So as you can see, there is some interference. So I'll be selecting the move segment function, and I'll be clicking on my line that I want to move up, and then I'll be dragging it up with a little arrow. So once I have it at the point where I want it to be, I will right click and click continue. Then if we are done with this, we can click finish, because I have the route now the way I want it to be. So I'll click finish route, and then if we double click on our run, we can say populate route, and then it will repopulate the route according to the drawing that we just modified. Lastly, we will be having a look at how to create and edit a flexible hose route. When you want to create a flexible hose route, you have to go to your Manage tab in your ribbon, and then you have to click on the drop-down menu to select hydraulic hose with the connector that you want. So in this case, I will be using hydraulic hose with a male connector, and then we'll click New Route in the Route tab, and then we'll click Route in the Create tab, and I'll select my starting point, and then I'll be selecting my ending point. And as you can see, they are using connectors to determine your starting and ending point, and then if you selected your ending point, this will generate a flexible hose along the route between the 2 points that you chose. And if I click finish, now you can see that they brought the hose and the connectors into my model for me to visualize and share with the team. Now we will be looking at the flexible hose editing. So as you can see here, the pipe is interfering with my base, and the pipe is also interfering with the base over here. So for me to edit that, I will be going to my tube and pipe runs. I'll double click on this to activate it. Then I'll go to the run, because there's only one run, so I'll double click on my run to activate that. I'll double click on my flexible hose, and then on my hose. So now you can see it brought out the drawings or the lines that it used to create the run. So for me to change this, I can insert a node on this point or anywhere on the pipe or the line that I want to, And now this node gives me the ability to drag the pipe around, or the drawing, to wherever I want it or need it to be, so that it doesn't interfere with my base anymore. So as you can see there, I cleared it from the base. It's not interfering anymore. So let's have a look at this side. If I click on insert my node on the create tab in the ribbon and I add a node over there, this should give me the ability to drag the pipe out of the way where I need it to be. As you can see there, there's still a slight bit of interference, but there's a second node. So if I click on this node and I drag it a bit up, let's just give it some time to regenerate. Okay, so now you see the pipe is completely clear of the base. And this is how you edit flexible pipes in Inventor 2024. It is time for a quick Q&A. If you have any questions, feel free to post it in the discussions tab in the Teams meeting. If not, I hope you enjoyed the webinar and I hope you learned something new. Thank you all for coming and enjoy the rest of your day.